few people that has the type of credibility to be able to, yeah, everyone's going to be analyzing Tom Brady. But the reason why I say Warren Moon is because he's one of the few players that had success in this league at an advanced age. I did play a couple years with him in the 90s. He taught me so much about football, brilliant football. But to me, we talk about Cam Newton. Cam Newton has a body like we've never seen. But Warren Moon has the best body. I'm talking about arms, legs, brain of any quarterback in the history of this game. Warren was a great athlete, but he was a pocket passer. He started off playing 6 years in the CFL, started 94 games before he went on to a 17-year NFL career. So he was a starting quarterback at 42. He started 10 games. So I wanted to start it with that. And what Warren points out is most quarterbacks, they don't lose their fastball by being able to throw. They lose their fastball because their legs fail them. Dan Marino, John Elway, those are two of the quarterbacks. The reason why they stopped playing was because of their legs. They had too many leg problems, and that little 3x3 box that you have to master in the pocket as a quarterback, when you lose that ability, people start getting closer to you. So that's what Warren is starting to talk about. All the years and years of all those thousands and thousands of dropbacks in the pocket, all those days and days of practicing, your legs take a pounding as a quarterback, and that's what he's referring to as far as what he's seeing with Tom right now.
See, when you were first retired and you were doing Inside the NFL with Dan Marino, in that moment, Marino had been retired a few years at that point. How many people on earth had a better arm than Dan Marino?
It was still Aaron Rodgers. We hadn't discovered him yet, so Dan was still the best. Matter of fact, I don't know where Dan is right now. Dan can hit you on a deep out right now.
And so why? But at the end, for Dan Marino, he didn't look like Dan Marino anymore. But you're saying he still had the arm. Why didn't he?
Because his legs. Because his legs failed him, and people don't realize that it's no different than having a great house. You can have a roof, man. You can have side paneling. You can have all the stuff inside. But if that foundation, and once that foundation begins to crack, it's hard to throw the football and throw it effectively.
A quarterback's arm, like Peyton Manning is the exception here because his arm failed him, but that was because he had the nerves and like he had the neck injury and so
yes,
that was,
and I would say Peyton never had a big arm. It was probably going to be his arm that went first. He doesn't have one of the biggest arms that we've ever seen playing the game.
But the point that this is the arm being the last to go. It's like a shooter in the NBA. Like Reggie Miller to this day can go out there and hit 80% unguarded from three, but the rest of his body went on him and so that's what Warren Moon's talking about, and that is what we're seeing. Like where Brady is this year, he's 14th in league in rating. He's 11th in touchdowns. He's 12th in yards per attempt. He's 18th in completion percentage. What we are baking in is that he will be able to channel it in the postseason in the biggest moments. And what we know, we don't even have to bake in, is we know some guys, the all-time greats in the biggest moments just stay the same. Most guys in the biggest moments get worse. The guys that are in the truly special all-time greats in the biggest moments actually get even better. That's what Brady has been. And we've seen him in the Super Bowls or in the AFC Championship game late. We've seen him have those moments. But I totally understand what Warren Moon's talking about because Tom Brady throughout his career has been one of the most mobile quarterbacks in football. Just mobile in the pocket, stepping up,
and not
stepping
a great
back.
Athlete.
No, but
the mobility right in that pocket.
And so that if that does go, that's where you see really that's what happened on that sack before the half. He was unable to step up and throw it away. The rush came to him, and he went down because in the past, I think he could have stepped up before the half or stepped up into the pocket and thrown it out the back of the end zone.
Warren Moon actually said a number of interesting things. One of them, I don't think you fall off a cliff, but it's gradual. And once that gradual decline starts, there's no turning back from it. It's a very slight but decline. Are we at the beginning of his gradual decline? Are we sort of in the middle of it? Are we starting to even see it? Where are we with Tom Brady?
That part is hard because, Tom, we've never had anyone like him. And also, we can't forget the Super Bowl. We can't forget what he did late in that game. We can't forget that. Now, we do have this season, but for most people, they thought over the last 2 years this was going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, Father Time is undefeated. I felt like last year, Jenna, when we were watching Tom versus Time, one of the things you and I were most intrigued about was the things that Tom was doing surrounding the pass rush, how he was avoiding people. You're like, why is he working on that? Because that's the part that he's going to need. And watching the Miami game and watching the last couple games, when people get close to Tom, he's not as accurate as he has been. So, yes, I believe that the time, it is there, the deterioration. Does that mean he can't win a Super Bowl? No, it doesn't mean that. But what it means is Gronk becomes more important. Edelman becomes more important. Josh Gordon becomes more important. And that offensive line build to give him just that little bit of extra time. And it becomes important, too, for them to be able to play at home and not play catch up. All right, this is not the type of team where Tom Brady is. If I'm the Pats, that I want to be able to get behind and try to track teams down.
Well, here's what's so confusing about Brady, and you guys have heard me say this before. His career made sense until 4 years ago because we saw the decline. In 2010, he had arguably the best year he's ever had aside from the undefeated year. They're 14-2. He has a 111 rating. The next year, it's 106. The next year, it's 99. The next year, it's 87. And you're like, okay, this is the gradual decline. And then it got better, better, better. And they made 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They won 2 of them. And it's like, hold on. He was declining. And then all of a sudden, he hit a new peak.
That's why we're all gun shy to say, like what you just said. No one wants to say, oh, we're at the decline, because we got to take a step back.
Because it looked like we were there. It looked like we were there. And then he's suspended 4 games 1 year, and he throws 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the season in his age 39 season, his age 40 season. They get to the Super Bowl and what is it? They has 400 yards passing, and so Brady had the decline and then recovered to even greater heights. And so now what we're seeing, you don't know if he's going to have somehow a third act to his post-act career. That's why I think everyone's hesitant.
All right, we'll talk more about this coming up, but on the other side.